Hey, welcome back to the channel. Just recently, I've been playing quite a bit of Rainbow Six Siege with some content creator friends of mine. I decided after 4 or 5 years I'd go back to give the game another chance, and while playing it, it all just kind of dawned on me. There's a very specific reason why Rainbow Six Siege has been so popular over the last 8 years. And there are many reasons as to why it is still popular, and I'll cover most of those in this video, I promise. But a pretty big one is the game knows what it is at its core. And I want to talk about how this should be utilized in not only XDefiant, but other potential games in the future who decide to go down the route of team-based one life modes. But before we get into it, and if it ain't too much to ask, hit that like and sub button for more content like this. Okay, let's get into it. General disclaimer to any Giga Siege player who comes to the video and watches how I play, please don't judge me, I know I'm utter dog shit. And look, I also know that XDefiant and R6 are completely different games, but just because two games are different doesn't mean they can't draw inspiration from each other. One of the many reasons why I stopped playing Siege so long ago is because I felt as if the game had lost its purpose, lost its identity, and felt detached and almost dissociated from the true tactical nature of what a Tom Clancy title should be. Hopping back into the game, however, I realized that in some aspects that might be true, but in many cases I was terribly mistaken. Despite having one of the most toxic and entitled communities aside from CS and Tarkov, R6 at its core holds up unbelievably well for being nearly 10 years old. Like, think of some of the games that came out in 2015 and compare it to Rainbow Six. You had Black Ops 3, Battlefield Hardline, Dying Light, true platinum titles and experiences, and out of all of those games, Rainbow Six is the only one that still has populated servers. You still have people buying R6 packs, the game still generates views on YouTube, and there is no short of quality R6 creators out there. Creators like Uzi, Macy J, and Sanuku to name a few.
Well, gee, Redbeard, how does this all equate into XDefiant being as good as R6?
You know what, you're right. Let's talk about it. There are a lot of things Ubisoft needs to utilize in order for XDefiant to stay relevant, financially viable, and be a successful franchise that Ubisoft will support for a decade or potentially more. Everything from movement to objective pacing to customization of weaponry, even down to the functionality of the gadgets. That is something that the fans of R6 have really come to love and appreciate about their favorite title. It's that nearly everything in the game, regardless if it's annoying or not, can be utilized in very crucial ways to secure wins across multiple maps and multiple playstyles. I noticed when playing XDefiant, the overall pacing of the game was geared more towards the rogue player whose secondary focus was communication. There wasn't really anything forcing my hand to communicate with my teammates because I see nothing at risk if I didn't say anything. In Rainbow Six, essentially as a new player, I consider it a necessity to say something to your teammates. I feel like if Ubisoft were to push XDefiant into that area of encouraging players to communicate much like they do in R6, you're already doing what I think would carry XDefiant into a higher echelon of competitive gaming. Another thing XDefiant needs in order for it to be successful and open its competitive scope more are one life elimination modes with maps to support them. Alongside that, the balancing act between keyboard players and controller players needs to be more leveled out. I played the second beta test of XDefiant on controller pretty much the entire time it was out, and I could tell that XDefiant was pretty much built for a controller. Rainbow Six has had its issues in the past with players exploiting keyboard lobbies by using Cronus devices, but after years of complaints and people voting with their wallets and internet connections, Ubisoft finally started issuing bans for using these devices. I know for a goddamn fact that Ubisoft needs to put up a defense barrier as soon as XDefiant drops, or it's gonna be a really bad case of same shit, different day. Now, while in the middle of making this video, I reached out to a few people I know for a fact play R6 way more than me and way more than I ever will. One of them having around 12,000 hours total in the game. I wish I was joking about that. It's actually Sanuku, go check him out on YouTube. But regardless of that, I asked them all the same question, and the question is, what do you think XDefiant needs to do in order for it to carry a prestigious legacy such as R6? The answers I got varied quite heavily, but they all were pretty much in agreement that long-term support is what will turn this game into another Ubisoft staple. Legacy titles are built with time, but you also need a mainstream of support there to actually support the damn game. The content roadmap for XDefiant right now is great, especially for a Ubisoft title, but roadmaps in modern day gaming don't mean a whole lot, at least to me. I like to think of roadmaps like visual suggestions of what may come to the game, not necessarily what you're gonna get. I sense that some of you guys are waiting for the gunplay aspect. Don't worry, I gotcha. Whether you want to admit it or not, R6 has a really solid infrastructure when it comes to weapon systems. A headshot feels like a goddamn headshot, and it doesn't feel like it should be a debate. Well, sometimes. I have rarely gotten into any gunfights on Siege that feels like I needed a third-party observer to see who actually won the gunfight. XDefiant felt really damn good, but some of those gunfights I had gotten into had me throwing flags on the goddamn play. Again, take a page out of Siege's book and tighten up the gunplay. If Ubisoft wants to make XDefiant another 10-year title, everything about it has to be perfect pretty much from the jump because of their bad reputation. You may think it's completely unfair that I just said that, and hey, more power to you. But when it comes to Ubisoft and FPS titles, they have the worst relationship I have ever seen. Ubisoft has only been able to do one FPS right so far, and it's Rainbow Six Siege. Regardless if you hate the game or love the game, we can pretty much all agree that Ubisoft knocked it out of the goddamn park with Rainbow Six Siege, and still is. I'm telling you guys right now that if Ubisoft were to take Rainbow Six's gun system and drop it into XDefiant, that might be some earth-shattering shit. XDefiant would feel probably a lot better than it did during the 2 closed beta tests. And note, the playtest didn't even feel all that bad, but the gunplay was one of those things I just really could not 100% get behind. And since we're on this little tangent right now, let's go ahead and discuss the financial end of the ordeal. I fully believe that XDefiant should take a page out of R6's book and just do packs. The packs, however, you'll be able to obtain successfully by completing matches, achievements within Ubisoft Connect, and with in-game currencies. Since the game is going to be free to play, I know the monetization is going to be more than plentiful and borderline overkill, but I'm going to tell y'all right now, packs, loot boxes, and cases are ATMs in the industry. Ubisoft needs to use them wisely. At the end of the day, guys, Ubisoft has a better chance than ever to compete on a level anywhere near close to Call of Duty. We've seen Battlefield and Halo lose their footing and fall off almost completely, so that leaves a huge gap for a competitor to come in and clean some goddamn house. Like I said in the beginning, XDefiant and R6 are 2 completely different games with 2 completely different play styles. One's an arena shooter and the other is a tactical FPS. The potential goldmine Ubisoft is sitting on though with XDefiant is something not a lot of people are seeing. This is all coming from somebody who absolutely despises Ubisoft as a publisher. I think that they are truly one of the lamest goddamn studios in the industry with a horrific track record. But when I played XDefiant for the 2nd beta test, I started seeing what they were putting down. The forward momentum is there and it is ready to go, but it's up to Ubisoft now for them to carry this project to the end goal. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit that sub button, that like button, and tap that notification bell for more content like this. And as always, my name is Red Bear Mortis. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Just kidding. I'll see you in the next one.